Hey, it's Kathy Lindert, your favorite hypnotist, and I'm here today to discuss with you about why we don't make ourselves priority number one. I know that it's a difficult task to sometimes do, and I would like to teach you how to start making yourself, your health, and your wellness number one because you're worth it. And I know that there's always an excuse, trust me. I know that you have heard many, many times, whether it's from your kids, employer, friends, it doesn't really matter. Even your partners, your spouse, whoever it is, that they will sometimes interfere, right? They will sometimes say, I forgot I have to do this. Could you help me? Oh, I forgot I have a project. Could you help me? I, I have to work late. Would you be able to do this for me? Or I forgot we have to get this email out. Would you be able to do this because I have to go pick up my kids. You're okay doing it, right? And then you sit there and you go, "Oh, okay." Because most of us say, "All right, I'll do it. I'll help out." And when we do that, we get angry, we get frustrated, and then we don't do what we want to do for us because we put ourselves on the bottom of the list. So instead of preparing foods, getting up and exercising, going to bed early, doing things that are good for us, we say, okay, well, look what happened. I have to do all these things. How do I have time for myself? Or look at what I have to, I need a reward. I need a break. I just can't do this right now because if I do it, then I'll be behind on blah, 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 blah. And everything then takes a back seat that's important to us, which is our health, which is our wellness, both mentally and physically. And when we do all of these things and we put ourselves back on that bottom of the list, and we get pissed. And we get pissed at ourselves for allowing that to happen. We get pissed at those that think that their stuff is more important. And we get pissed because we're just not doing something that makes us happy. And when we don't do something that makes us happy, then we get really, really upset. And then we look for a reward or we look for an excuse to say, I can't do this. I mean, look at this. I know I've done this. And there are times going to the gym and walking the dogs or feeding the cats or giving people a little special time or answering the phone or deciding I have to pay the bills at the moment. Everything gets in the way because in my mind, it's painful. It's work. It's hard. And I think, all right, oh, look at this. Somebody just texted me. Let me answer that. Instead of saying, they can wait, this is important. It's going to take me 15 minutes or 20 or even an hour, right? Even if it's an hour. And then when I start doing it, I feel so much better, right? Don't you feel so much better too? When you start doing whatever it is and you get it done, got it done. Yeah, wasn't as long and hard as I thought it would be. That's what I want you to do. I want to teach you how to make yourself priority number one. How do you do that? Well, the first thing is I'm always big on the language. You're going to hear this over and over and over again. And when I tell you that I get it, trust me, I get it. I'm not a techie person. So for me to sit down and do certain things technology wise, there are times I'd rather have a tooth pulled. Like that's how I'm like, oh, gosh, I have to sit and do this. I have to watch these videos. I have to learn how to do this. Oh, this is such BS. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to learn it? Why can't I hire somebody? Right. And when I keep on saying all these things over and over to myself, you know what becomes bigger and bigger and scarier and all those things that I hate, which is a terrible word to use. It's doing something that's good for not only my business, for my clients, because then I get more information out and I help you guys. But to me, it's like this is the size of the job, and I've made it the size of the room. And that's what we all do. We sometimes take something that's a little bump in the road and we make it into this huge mountain. That's where the saying, don't make a mountain out of a molehill, because it's little. I mean, when you look at it, if you were to break it down for somebody else, you'd be like, you can't do that? Really? Okay. So, number one, language. When you start saying, I can and I will do this, and I'm going to give myself 15 or 20 minutes time, and I put the timer on, I literally will put my timer on. And as soon as I sit down to do it, I go click and it goes. When I say that, I can and I will do this for 15 minutes. 15 minutes is not a long time. 15 minutes is something that's like, okay, I could do 15 minutes. And it makes it easier because I know the timer is going to go off. That's number one. Number two is I start looking at the benefits. I start looking at the things that I'm going to achieve with it. What is it that you're going to achieve? If you exercise, you're going to feel better, healthier, stronger, fitter, trimmer, more energy. If you eat right and you pack things ahead of time, you're going to be able to say, I have food. I don't have to grab something. I don't have to stop. I know what I'm eating. I know what I'm putting in my mind and in my body because I'm fueling my mind and my body with good, nutritious foods. If you're looking to quit smoking and you say, okay, I'm going to listen to this recording, I'm going to stop. What is it that really is the benefit out of this? What am I going to gain if I smoke? You start realizing that when you stop and you think about all of the good, it outweighs the things that you think are so much more difficult. Because when you start thinking about it, you're like, it's really not that hard. It's kind of more of a pain in the ass, but it's really not that hard. And when you start talking to yourself like your best friend or your CEO, it depends on what you want to do. And you start saying, if this was my best friend, if this was my kid, if this was my husband, if this was whoever it is, and they came to me with this excuse, what would I say to them? How would I help them? When I start doing that, it switches my thought process. It switches the outcome because all of a sudden I realize, it really isn't that bad. It really doesn't take that much time. And then when I'm watching the videos or I'm doing the newsletter or I'm figuring out how to do the technology, or I set in my alarm and in my calendar, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I'm going for my dance class and I'm doing all these things. And I walk out and I have so much better attitude because I'm listening to great music. I'm moving my body. I feel better and stronger. I'm glad I did it. So now you're going to take some time. You're going to give yourself permission to do that. You're going to set a clock. You're going to say, this is what I'm going to accomplish in 15 or 20 minutes, or even if it's an hour. I give myself 45 minutes, really an hour and 15, if I count travel time, to go to dance class. When I'm learning something new technology wise, I put on 15 or 20 minutes. And then if I'm really into it, I go, I'll put on another 15 minutes or another 20 minutes. If I'm not and I need a break, that's my break time. And again, I put the timer on to give myself 5 or 10 minutes to just breathe, to go outside. The benefits outweigh that negative talk and making that little mountain or molehill into a mountain, excuse me. That's the difference. When you start breaking it down and start realizing what you say to yourself will make you or break you, it changes everything. Make yourself number one. And if somebody comes to you and says, you know what, I forgot I have to do that. Oh, that's I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I have an appointment. I can't send out that email. I wish I could help you. Gotta go. Bye. If your kids come, and this is something that we've experienced, Mom, I forgot. I have to do a report and it's due by tomorrow. When did you get that assignment? 2 weeks ago. It becomes my problem. How does it become my problem? Do I help them? Yes. But do I do all the work? No. Because what lesson am I teaching them? Nothing. Just because you decided not to do it doesn't become my emergency. Or sometimes when I will have a call and they'll say, I need to see you right away. Like, when's your first appointment? Okay, I can do that. Oh, well, that really doesn't work for me. Well, then it's really not an emergency, is it? Because if it was an emergency, you would make the time to do it. So now it no longer becomes my emergency. Remember, just because they didn't prepare or do what they needed to do doesn't mean you have to pick up the pieces and then stop taking care of you. Instead, you always have the right to say, I'm so sorry that happened. I wish I could help you, but I can't because I have other obligations. And the obligation that you have is you. This is Kathy Lindert, your favorite hypnotist. I am so happy that you are watching me, and I wish you the best because you know why? You're important. You're worth it. And I am helping you to believe it. Get out there. Have a great